So, friends, some Republican senators are now pushing back on Donald Trump, specifically regarding one particularly horrible nominee on the rule of law front. You know, friends, we will take our points of light where we can find them. So let's talk about Republican Senator Thom Tillis telling Donald Trump no, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, although there are so many bad Donald Trump nominees to choose from, one of the absolute worst on the rule of law front is this guy, Ed Stop the Steal Martin, Donald Trump's pick to be the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, the top federal prosecutor in Washington, D.C. Well, some of us who value the rule of law, as we do, just got some good news from a pretty unexpected place, a Senate Republican. Let's start with the new reporting. This from The Hill. Headline, GOP Senator torpedoes Trump's pick to serve as U.S. Attorney for D.C. And that article begins, Senator Thom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee who faces a tough re-election race in 2026, has informed the White House that he will not support Ed Martin, President Trump's choice to serve as U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, torpedoing the controversial nomination. Martin is currently serving as the interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia and has come under strong criticism for helping to organize the Stop the Steal movement after the 2020 election and for serving as defense counsel to people charged with January 6th related crimes. Senator Tillis told reporters Tuesday morning that he will not support Martin's nomination to remain as U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia because of his advocacy for people convicted of January 6th related crimes. A no vote from Tillis kills the nomination because Republicans have a 12-10 majority on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and all Democrats on the panel also oppose Martin's nomination. The nominee, Ed Martin, could not advance on an 11-11 deadlock. This quote from Senator Tillis, quote, "At this point, I've indicated to the White House I wouldn't support his nomination." Quote, "Most of my concerns relate to January 6th, Tillis said Tuesday. I think that anybody that breached the perimeter should have been imprisoned for some period of time. Whether it's 30 days or 3 years is debatable, but I have no tolerance for anybody who entered the building on January 6th, and that's probably where most of the friction was." Tillis continued, quote, "We have to be very, very clear that what happened on January 6th was wrong. It was not prompted or created by other people to put those people in trouble. They made a stupid decision, and they disgraced the United States by absolutely destroying the Capitol," he said. After Tillis announced his opposition, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, said there isn't likely a path for the nominee to reach the floor. Quote, "I think that would suggest that he's probably not going to get out of committee," Thune said. And friends, this ain't small potatoes, because Donald Trump was pushing the Senate Republicans hard to confirm Ed Martin. The article continues, "Tillis's opposition to the nominee is remarkable given Trump's efforts to save Martin by intervening with Senate Republicans." This post from Trump, quote, "We are going to take our country back, and fast. Ed Martin will be a big player in doing so, and I hope that the Republican senators will make a commitment to his approval, Trump wrote. And friends, goodness gracious, when it comes to Ed Martin's nomination, even Senator Susan Collins was concerned. Senator Susan Collins, Republican from Maine, said the concerns about Martin's nomination were more widespread than just Senator Tillis. Okay, friends, a couple of takeaways from this development. Senator Tillis was concerned that Ed Martin was a stop-the-steal guy, an apologist for the J6 rioters and insurrectionists, and that's a good start. But you know why else Ed Martin is disqualified from serving as the top prosecutor in Washington, D.C., in my opinion? Well, among other things he did, Ed Martin fired a couple of dozen prosecutors who worked diligently in the public interest to hold accountable J6 rioters and insurrectionists. Fired them. Ed Martin demoted, I believe, 7 senior, experienced career prosecutors, some of the best prosecutors that Washington, D.C. has to offer, some of the most experienced homicide prosecutors, public corruption prosecutors, national security prosecutors who had the gall to actually prosecute the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and other J6 defendants who tried to overturn the results of a presidential election, tried to, in a very real sense, end American democracy. 7 of those prosecutors were demoted by Ed Martin from some of the most important work that the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia does, busted them all the way down to misdemeanors, the lowest level cases handled by the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office, and those demotions represent a safety risk to the people of the District of Columbia. That's not all Ed Martin did. He wrote letters to universities, to law schools, saying, for example, to Georgetown University School of Law, I understand that you are teaching and promoting DEI in your classes, in your curriculum, among your administration, and then Ed Martin told them, quote, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable to you? Who the hell are you, sport, to tell universities what they can and can't teach? What courses are acceptable or unacceptable to you? He said they'd be investigated, and he said no graduates from Georgetown Law would be permitted to work at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Are you effing kidding me? That is so far beyond the scope of the official duties of a federal prosecutor, including a United States attorney for the District of Columbia, that I believe it opens him up to being sued in his personal capacity, because he should lose his qualified immunity, because that's what happens when a government official acts outside the scope of their official governmental duties. Those are just a few examples of what Ed Martin has been doing that disqualify him from being confirmed as United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. I, for one, am glad that one of those things sufficiently outraged and upset Senator Tillis that he said, hey, Donald Trump, no, not confirming him. Now, we have to wait and see if the White House pulls Ed Martin's nomination. But it seems to me if you have a senior, respected Republican member of the Senate, Senator Tillis, and the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Thune, basically both saying, yeah, the Martin nomination is pretty much done. Well, it seems like the Martin nomination is pretty much done, but we'll wait and see. There's another important takeaway, friends, and that is that this is an indication that Donald Trump's grip on the Senate Republicans is maybe loosening a little bit. You know, that dictatorial grasp Donald Trump has had on all of the Republicans in Congress, it seems to be slipping a little bit when they are willing to stand up to one of Donald Trump's, most valuable nominees like Ed Martin, who is going to help make D.C. and America great again by abusing prosecutorial discretion, apparently, it seems to be an indication that Donald Trump's influence is receding, is waning. And let's hope that this will embolden and inspire and encourage Senate Republicans to really begin stepping up to care about the rule of law, to support the Constitution, and to actually serve their constituents honorably and honestly and ethically with a view toward supporting and defending the rule of law and the Constitution, not supporting Donald Trump in his efforts to trample on the rule of law, to undermine the Constitution, and to grab all the dictatorial power for himself. This is a good sign. This is a good indicator. This is a good data point. This is a point of light amidst the Trump-induced darkness. Now, I am not yet prepared to say that, we're building a team of rivals, but this is an important development for the rule of law. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with y'all again tomorrow. And if you get a minute and you enjoy this content on my Justice Matters channel, please hit subscribe. Always free. Nothing behind a paywall. Thank you, friends.